Yeah, we are live. Meenakshi, hello, we are live.
Sorry, am I audible?
Yeah, you're audible.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to today's session. Uh, we have a great speaker with us today, a very interesting topic. So I, on behalf of the entire team of Enajuri, would like to welcome all of you who's participating for today's webinar. So the topic that we are discussing today is a slight shift from all the policy discussions that we have been having or the intervention and other stuff, education related projects and, grassroots work that we have been discussing so far. So we will be discussing on something which is called human library. And for this session, we have Himakshi Gohain, who is an MBA holding 5 years of corporate job experience. And in 2017, she quit her job and she went to Rishikesh for a yoga course. And by the end of 2017, she started a yoga center called Namaste Yoga Shala and teaching people authentic traditional yoga and yogic philosophy. From 4 years, she has been solo traveling, covering almost 14 states and blogging about yoga and traveling. And in 2020, on the 21st of June, she started the first human library, Guwahati chapter. So unlike on other days when I speak a lot and talk about Enajuri and what the initiative is all about, I think most of us already know that we've been hosting these webinar series. Today, I won't take much time because the topic sounds really interesting. I do not have much idea on what is this concept of human library. So I'm really looking forward to having an interactive session. So over to you, Himakshi, and welcome once again.
Okay, thank you so much, and thank you, team manager. I think I hope I'm audible.
Yes, perfect.
Yeah, thank you for having me. And yes, I'm not that a great speaker, not at all at public speaking, but still, I would love to share something. So you already have told about my introduction, so no need to give my introduction. So basically, I'm a yogi who follow the yogic philosophy and who live a very simple life, interacting, and it's more about the connection. I always talk more about the connection. That's why that human library things come into my mind. So first of all, I will tell what human library concept is. So human library, it's a international organization. So you can say it's a international movement where there's an analogy of a library where people itself is a book. So unlike the library, we are reading the books. Here we read the papers. So it's a complete set of platform where people itself is a book who talk about their journey. Especially, we talk about the prejudices, stigma, and different taboos in the society. And readers, the unlike everyone who like to hear, who like to interact, they are the readers. So first, the human library concept, they started it in the year 2000 in Denmark. The Ronnie Abrego, he is the founder of this one. So presently, they are running it around more than 80 countries in the world. Probably in India, it was established in 2017, I guess, like 3 years back. Now successfully running in Hyderabad, Delhi, Mumbai, and in Northeast and in Guwahati. This one is the first time we are starting, but unfortunately, due to this one lockdown and COVID situations, we are conducting all the session in a online way. So the very basic concept is to create an active listeners, to create a platform where people can talk freely, where the people will not judge anyone while listening. So
Himakshi, if I can just stop you there for just for a brief moment and just
yeah,
like to know more about, your journey in terms of how did you get introduced to this whole concept? Because this is something very unfamiliar for a lot of us. You
okay,
said you are a yogi. So
yeah.
how did you, get acquainted to this kind of a line altogether, something which is so different from what most of us do?
Yeah,
Could you take us
exactly.
through your journey? Yeah.
Yeah, actually, yeah, it actually my yoga journey, it helps me to get into this human library concept. So I have been running my yoga school and my yoga sessions. Especially, I'm more into the philosophy of the yoga. So I see that people come to me, usually they initially come to me like body shaping and something, sculpting and all this. But later on, I realize when I speak to them, when I interact to them, somewhere I feel those person, they are looking for somebody who really listen to them. They don't want somebody to help them exactly in a monetary terms or in a physical way. They need somebody just to listen them. You don't, they are not looking for anyone to help them, but only a good listener they're wanting. They are like almost in my career, like in the 4 years of my yoga journey, I have connected with more than 300-400 students, and most of them, I'm telling you, like 90% of people are broken from inside. Like I feel very sad whenever I see a people laughing. I used to think about what may be going on their mind, what may be their journey. So I always wanted to curious about listening to them. What are their like breaking ways? I mean, I don't know. There are lots of things they have gone through. So when I interact them, I always feel that yes, we need something, we need someone to, we need a place, we need a space where people can speak up, where people don't have the fear of judgment. We don't speak up because we feel there are a lot of fear of our society, maybe our colleague, maybe family, or maybe we know that they will only listen us just to react, just to respond, not to understand our things. So human library, the concept comes from that. Once in during the lockdown time, I was talking with one of my friends. Like we are going through those news of depression and anxiety, all those things. So we were talking about doing something for the mental health issues. So then one of my friends told me that why don't you approach to the human library. So I heard about the human library earlier also, so I didn't give a bigger thought on that time, but then I realized yes, I should speak up. So then I talked with the CEO, somehow I connected him, and then we got into the concept of this. So basically it's all about the active listening. So I really feel it's, we need a better connections in terms of listening, active listening. So I usually ask people, what do you mean by listening? Like, if you are really listening to me, if I'm whatever I'm talking, you can repeat after me. Like if I ask you what I was talking, you can exactly say what I was talking. That is only the active listening. Like if we can remember our school days. So we lack that in the society. Once we try to listen deeply to any persons, we can connect somehow, because most of the problem, what my belief was, most of the problem in the whole world are very limited. Either it's a social problem, monetary problem, some rituals or something. But the only difference that makes is the way we respond to the problem, the way we look at the perception of us. So it helps when we listen someone very deeply, very closely, without any judgment, without any conditioning of our mind. We can see the things, same things in a different angle, in a different perspectives, and that's how it helps. So once somebody like we had some books on our mental health issue also. So we usually, the people who don't drink, they think like why they are behaving like this, they are mad or what. But once you listen to those persons, what they are going through, so we start thinking about that in a different angle. So it justify, maybe at some point the way they are behaving, it justify why they are behaving. It's give a close connection. So no matter how technically, how monetary or physically we are working on our body, we're working on our development technically or whatever it is, but until and unless we do not know how to connect, we do not get into the what a person is going through internally, it's very difficult to make the changes. That's how I feel that human library concepts, it's very helpful to understand the people. So if you ask about like what are the topic we are discussing in human library, so there are in the main organizations in Denmark, there are major 13 pillars of prejudices they have. It include like religions, lifestyle, addictions, sexuality, and many things they included. So all those things we don't speak up in the society. We do not talk much about it. We still are taboo in our society. So all any persons who are going through this all these taboos and prejudices, they can be booked in a human library, and the readers, they listen to them, they interact them, and they can understand it much better way.
Yeah,
And
Himakshi, just I want to stop you here. When you talk about a human being a book, can you tell me how the whole concept of human library works? Like, what do you do to be a part of human library, and how do you access the human library?
I mean, can you? I'm not getting
Yeah. So
exactly
my
what you wanted
question
to
is
understand.
that
Yeah.
how does the human library concept works? So from what
Mm-hmm.
I understand, it's not a physical space. You meet
Yes.
people in certain area. So my idea is to understand from you, how does the concept of human library function? So you as a reader, and how do you access human library? So what is the
Okay.
mechanism of it?
So actually, it's not a online process. It's actually a physical process. Just because of the lockdown, we are not organizing it in a physical way. So here we conduct. Actually, initially we get into the different people. We come across to the different people. They also come to us regarding their stories. So we try to collect their story with our relations, because we have a team of 6 people where we have a head librarian, book depot manager, and a technical team also. So we people approach to the different persons and we collect the books according to their story. We create a book cover and we create a certain outline of the book. So then we published it. We publish it like you people are doing almost the same way. We published it and we in a physical way we organize it in a, like, it may be in a cafe, it may be in a hall, it may be in a physical space, any physical space.
So Himakshi,
So
when you say you publish a book in its physical format? Because what I am understanding, I don't know if I'm correctly understanding you.
mm-hmm.
I get that this is more like an oral conversation. What you're trying
Yes,
to say,
yes,
it's
yes.
definitely not a physical space when you say
Yeah.
a human library, because it's
Mm-hmm.
individual one-on-one interaction. So
Mm-hmm.
in that sense, how what is your process of selecting? You said you are a team of 6 people, and then you
Mm-hmm.
find somebody very interesting and choose that
Mm-hmm.
person's narrative, and then go on to publish
Mm-hmm.
a book, if I understood you correctly.
Mm-hmm.
And on the other hand, you also said that it's also something similar to what we are doing. So in fact,
Yeah.
I was also thinking on similar lines, because in that sense,
Mm-hmm.
isn't every individual narrative a very important story? Isn't every individual's life a very interesting journey by itself?
Absolutely, absolutely. Because everyone is passing going through some kind of stories. Means
So
everyone has a
can you then
story.
say that what Enajari as a team is doing, it's also in some way similar to the concept of human library?
Yeah, it's also a similar to a concept of human library. The only difference is we mark the every person as a book. We identify every person as a book and we give a particular title for that book, because it comes under the 13 plus of prejudices in our human library concept. So suppose if I'm talking about like yoga, it will come under lifestyle, or it will come out under professional works. So we will title myself as some book and we will publish in the sense, not physically, publish in a format of like in virtual format. It may be a poster, it may be like a this one template or something like that. And so that people will come to we, and for the time being we are publishing it in a electronic media. Later on maybe we'll approach directly to the people or colleges or somewhere. So it is like likewise, we are only the difference with you guys is we are publishing it as a book concept. So you can choose, we will have different kind of books in a single event, like 9 to 10 books we'll have that cover, we'll have a catalog for each book. So public readers will come to that place and they can choose which books they want to read. We'll assign a particular time for that, like 20 minutes to 30 minutes, maximum allowed time is 30 minutes. So we'll allot a space. It may be a same book, there may be a 3 to 4 people, there may be a single person interaction. So we will allot them that space. Once they select a book, they will have the interaction with that particular book only. So it's a library concept. That's why it's a library concept, because we'll keep 4 or 5 books together. We'll can keep 8 9 books together. In fact, in a bigger human library organization in chapter like in Hyderabad, they're already organizing around 200 books. They have a collection of 200 to 300 books. So people can choose any books among from them.
So how do you access the human book?
if it's a offline session, you can directly connect with the contact details we'll give, and we'll give the space and time where we'll conduct the session. But if it's a online, we publish it in our email library pages, like Insta page, Facebook pages we have, and personally also we are trying to this one, sending the details.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Like in India, when was it introduced, and like how is it working out in India? So I have read about it, like where like Buddhist, or you call like Holocaust survivor in Germany, which is happening. What I understand is like you go to a place where you meet people and interact. So some call it as a healing session, some call it as it's more like a therapeutic. So when we come in Indian mindset, how do you see it working?
uh, in India, like it's getting a very good response from the young people actually. So mostly all the session they are mostly organizing the college campus or like IIT, and even in the corporate school also, corporate organization also. So the response people, because I feel youngster they are actually looking for a change. They actually wanted to go deep, they wanted to explore it. The only thing that restricting us is that we don't speak up from what from our inner thoughts. We speak up what we percept through anything, any media. Like if I want to give an example, suppose if I ask somebody about a rose, we will directly can give thousands of example how rose look like, how rose it, how what's the color, what's the order. But how many of us directly go to a rose plant and pick that flower up and just look so closely, deeply to that flower, and try to look at that what is the exact texture, how soft is the petal, how beautifully it smells. So that closeness, this connection is missing. So when we come to a person very face to face and we just open up truly, and that the viewer, the readers, they don't judge anything, it helps to getting things more closer. It helps to discover more things more better way. So that's how the concept of actually human library started.
Okay. And why did you feel like it was necessary to introduce in Assam?
Actually, it's not in Assam. I feel it should be necessary in everywhere, even in the school, even among like colleges, in everywhere, not in Assam, even in the home also, nowadays what we are happening, even in our home also, we don't feel safe enough to express ourselves truly. So when I was walking in my yoga session, I have literally seen people coming to me and crying and telling me their stories, because they feel it's very safe to speak to me rather than speak to their family, and they like responded like it doesn't. I don't help them anyway, but once they speak up, one they tell me everything, because they feel very safe to speak up in front of me, because I'm not going to judge anyway. So the moment they release their toxins, I will call it as a toxins. When you are holding something very deep, and that is giving some negative effect, it's obviously a toxins for them. So when they are releasing the toxins very slow way, in a good way, so they feel so relaxed, they feel so free of burden. So it's not about Assam, I feel. I think it should be introduced everywhere, so that people can get a better space, free space to speak up, to be free, to not indulge in the burden of carrying lots of things, and not like we do carry a lot of emotional trauma. We really don't talk about the trauma. We don't talk about the toxins, that emotional toxins. We just receive it, that it's very natural to us. We feel that whatever is happening in the childhood, whatever we are listening, whatever we are watching in the family, whatever is going on in the society, whatever it is, we feel it's very normal, it's very natural. But if we look into deeper way, it's become a part of our condition of the mind. We condition the mind in that way, so we in future also we react if something come up to us like that, we react in some other pattern, because we already have seen some pain or something, and which we have never tried to work on that. We can try walk on our physical walk, we can heal our physical pain, something. But when we are going through some emotional trauma, when we are carrying some emotional baggage, or you can say some toxins, so those we don't talk, and those we don't know how to release. The active listening and
Himakshi, if I
speaking.
can ask you,
Hmm.
Himakshi, what you're
Hmm.
trying to say is your concept of human library something similar to creating safe spaces? If
Yes.
I can say, safe
Yes.
spaces, and also something which is very common in, therapeutic sessions, like creating
Exactly.
support groups,
Hmm.
creating
Exactly.
support groups for
Hmm.
various categories of marginalized communities, it could be. So
Yes.
is it something similar to that? And if it is similar, then my next question is also what I think Mr. Amit Singh asked just now, that how is the concept of human library then different from a therapeutic session?
You here therapeutic session, people come to actually heal. Here people intentions is not to heal, they just interact, they just wanted to share a story. And it's not like, you can't say at some point it's a therapeutic, but all the stories are not therapeutic. It's just a way, a book we pick up. If you wanted to everyone, if you give an chance, you wanted to write a book, you will definitely share your story to someone. So it's like that. It's not, the intentions is not to cure someone, intentions is to set ourselves free and expressing ourselves free. From that point, if somebody, the reader, is finding it as a therapeutic, that will work for them. And if not, they will have a different perspective and they can see the things in a different way. And for the book, once they speak up, they will build up some empathic relationship. So it's more about empathy, it's more about the respecting the human values, it's more about respecting how
It's a
you listen to.
judgment free space, if I'm
uh,
right.
yes.
Okay, okay. Just another question. When you talk about human libraries, so whom are you catering to? Is it like more to do with youth, children, or adult or old age people? How are you connecting it?
Right now, we are not focusing on the children, but although the stories we are getting are like, it's the most, there are so many stories that happen in the childhood, and they are that are affecting them in their oldest. So basically, we have a presently we have a age group above 20s to oldest also. Probably we will work on the child also. So it's a young group now we are actually approaching.
Okay. We are opening the session for like question. We have already started having it. I'll just let
Hmm.
you know. So
Okay.
the next question we have reached from Amit Singh itself. So in
Hmm.
Indian, mental health is a taboo. Do you think like visiting library, which is something you will work?
Okay. So, for that, I would like to see, whenever you feel alone, whenever you feel lonely, and you have nothing to do, you feel depressed. Do you go to watch a movie? Do you go for a cup of tea? Do you go for a like any beautiful music? And sometimes we read some book also. So it's the same concept here. Only the
But
book is a medium.
there are perhaps also a lot of us who just don't feel like doing any of these. We don't want to go and see a movie. We don't want to interact with anyone. So
Yes.
what do we do then?
So it's not a compel, it's not a compel, you have to go, and it's up to you. Like, it's open, and there is nothing compelling that. It's very free, it's free kind of thing. Like, if you feel like, yes, I should go and talk to that person, and maybe it will help me, or may not be, like, just go and listen to them, then you simply can go. It's not like we want to earn something, we want to learn something. It's we will There are many people who really wanted this one, and if somebody doesn't want that, that's not actually, we are not looking into that part. We are mostly focusing on, if someone really looks for this platform, they are most welcome into this.
Okay. Himakshi, I think you also mentioned that one of your important pillars, if I heard you correctly, I don't know, is also
Hmm.
education. You said something on education, didn't you? If you did mention on education, I would like to understand
Hmm.
how you relate the concept of human library vis-a-vis education, because this is, I mean, this Sunday session on the webinar session that we organize is particularly
Hmm.
focusing on education. So I would like to know your thoughts on that.
uh, education, it's not only pillars here, not on the prejudices on that. Education is something we can don't can consider as a taboo or stigma, but it's, yes, some point of thing here, education means in the sense of understanding all the taboos, understanding all the stigma, prejudice, why we are going through this, why we are like doing certain things in a particular way. We are broadening the perspectives of looking at the things. Same things we few years back when we look into a gender equality, it was a very different, we have a concept, we have a different taboo. So now if when we are started speaking about it, it's a kind of education actually. So anything, any information for your benefit, it's an education. So if you are learning something through conversation, you are learning to respect somebody while conversation, you are learning to be empathetic towards the people while speaking to someone. It's a part of your education, actual education, actually, I would rather say. Like mugging up something and giving a answer and getting a certificate, it's, I won't count that as an education. To be more human, to be feel more empathetic towards every human person, to feel and to sense the emotions of that person, the way we feel our emotions, it's actual, should be the task of an education. So it will on come while on reading, while watching, it will, I think it will feel, it will come if we come into connections via talk, connection via walking, whatever it is. But until and unless we speak up, until and unless we share, until and unless we express from the core, we won't get a proper education. That's what I do mean by the education here.
Okay, so Polomi, want to know about the future of the human library chapter in India and Assam. What are your plans?
Okay. So actually, we are waiting for this pandemic to get over. Let's see what we can do. We are planning for the offline session. So we will go for a trial, a 1-2 session in like in a moderate way. But once we feel like it's going in a good way, we are getting the good responses. Maybe we'll expand it into other city also, and maybe in the entire northeast also. But we will, I think, probably we will mostly target into the university, colleges, IITs, and corporate sector also, like unlike the others human library are working. So for the time being, we are focusing on online session. So we already conducted around 6 session and 6 books we have. Polam is also among one of that book. So
Yeah,
we are looking for
Polomi.
more books.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
Polomi
yeah, hi,
from
hi.
online, and you can
Yeah,
also
yeah,
share
yeah.
your experience. Like, how is it going till now? Yeah, the feedback of people who have
Yeah,
attended human library.
yeah. So, basically, we've got a lot of feedback. Actually, we have had online sessions only because of the whole pandemic situation. But even then, the response was pretty overwhelming, and we've had discussions on prejudices ranging from addiction, sexuality, abuse, a lot of stuff basically. So even I was a book, and uh, several other friends were books, and in fact our very own Milinda was a book one day. So and in fact Milinda's session was very informative, and like that's how we are doing it. And uh, I would say that it was very good, in the way we got to learn about so many things that we usually don't talk about, and especially in this area, we don't
Can you
have
give us some
such
example?
platforms.
Can you give some example
Uh,
how it works?
yeah. So let me tell you how we sort of select books. Right now, it's more about So basically, we give a form to the people, and they kind of fill it up. And if we see they are basically fitting in the thing, and if their story is worth telling, and if their story actually speaks about the journey of somebody who has overcome some prejudice. So we select that person and we contact that person, and that person actually shares his or her journey. and that's how the book basically comes on board, and he or she is heard, basically. Yeah.
Okay.
Uh, so over to you, Ba.
So I had a question. I'm Priyanshu. So more মেমলে question এটা আছিলে মেমে মেনশ্যন কৰিছিলে হেল্ল'
হয় শুনি আছো কোৱা
ইয়া চ' মেমে মেনশ্যন কৰিছিলে মানে লাইক ইউ গিভ আপোনালোকে কণ্টেক্ট দি দিয়ে এতিয়া এতিয়া কণ্টেক্ট দি দিয়ে তো এনেকুৱা কথা থাকে নি লাইক আপোনালোকে ছিকিউৰিটিৰ কথা কি ভাবে লাইক মানে এনেকুৱা সেই মানুহটোৱে যোন যাক আপুনি কণ্টেক্ট দিলে সেই মানুহটোৱে প্ৰব্লেম দিছে নি মানে আপোনাৰ বুক যোনজন হয় আপোনাৰ সেইজনক কিবা প্ৰব্লেম দিছে নি সেইটো আপোনালোকে কেনেকৈ চায়
আমি কেনেকৈ এচিয়ৰ কৰোঁ
এচিয়ৰ কৰে যে চিকিউৰ হয় এইটো
How does the your human book work?
So human book to আমি আমাৰ কিছুমান ৰুলছ ৰেগুলেশ্যনছ আমি অলৰেডি এটা ৰিডাৰ্ছ বা বুকছৰ এটা গাইডলাইন কিছুমান আছে য'ত আমি তেওঁলোকক প্ৰপাৰলি মেনশ্যন কৰোঁ এনেকুৱা এনেকুৱা কনচেপ্ট হয় যদি ইউ ফিল চিকিউৰ টু শ্বেয়াৰ পিছত যদি শ্বেয়াৰ কৰিলে একো নিজে হেৰি প্ৰব্লেম নহয় তেখেতসকলে ডেফিনেটলি আহি শ্বেয়াৰ কৰিব পাৰে চ' ৱাইল এণ্ড এবাউট লাইক যদি আমি ইণ্টাৰনেট চিকিউৰিটিৰ কথা কৈ আছোঁ তেনেহ'লে সেই চিকিউৰিটিটো আমি কোনোবা যদি থ্ৰেফ্ট কৰে সেইটোতো আমি একো হেৰি কৰিব নোৱাৰোঁ বাট ইয়াত কোনো ৰেকৰ্ড কৰি বা পাৰ্চনেল ইণ্টাৰেকশ্যন তেনেকুৱা কোনো আমাৰ কিছুমান এলাউ নহয় কিছুমান আমাৰ অলৰেডি প্ৰট'কলছ আছে তাৰ কাৰণে আৰু বেচিকেলি যে কনচেণ্ট ফ্ৰম দ্য উই টেক দ্য কনচেণ্ট ফ্ৰম দ্য বুকছ whether he is like willingly wanted to share it or not so এনেকুৱা নহয় যে তেওঁ কমপ্লিটলি গোটেইখিনি শ্বেয়াৰ কৰিব পাৰে বিচাৰে যদি তেওঁ বিচাৰে যে certain amount of things I would like to share he is fine with that so
Yeah, he or she can keep it anonymous also.
Yeah.
I think.
anonymous can you explain
For example, if I'm talking about my journey, if I had to face certain prejudice, I wouldn't name that. For example, let's talk about anything. It can be like bullying. Okay, so I would not name my bullies. All I'll talk about is the journey and how it affected me, basically. So, for example, somebody bullied me at my workplace. So I will not name that person, but I will say how was the journey and what I did to overcome it, so that people who are going through the same thing can, get ideas from it, and it might help some person or the other anyway, even if I don't name that bully, right?
okay.
So that way I can share my journey and without hurting anybody, and somebody might get benefited that way.
Yeah, thank you.
This is Milan, and my question is more to Polami, because you and I, we both, we were there in that human book
Right.
as well, or
Right.
human library, as well as in this whole webinar.
Mhm.
And for me, I see quite a lot of similarity between what we are doing and what human library is doing, except that
Right.
human library is more personal.
Right.
It's a personal story.
Mhm.
Me sharing my life or my journey or my struggle, or you sharing your struggle. It's more of a
Right.
personal thing. So in a way, it's quite similar. They call it
Yeah.
human library.
Mhm.
Like they also do, a flyer. The way we look
Yeah.
through, make a flyer. That is, they call it a cover. And
Right.
then
Uh,
and
uh,
only other. Sorry, go ahead. What is the
mhm.
other difference?
Right. Here comes the difference. So basically, when we were talking about me being a book, we were popularizing the concept, like the prejudice. So I was talking about abuse, child sexual abuse. So it was about that prejudice. We were not, talking about the person, right? So it's not the person what matters. It's the journey that matters here. Somebody just asked how many people can a book talk to. Um,
No, for this, I would like to reply. So,
mhm.
when you go for an offline session, there is no restrictions for readers. Like one person for one book, there may be a 3%, 4%. Like there will be limited. At least for 6 to 7 people can come together and read the same book at the same time. It's like a group session they can conduct it.
Right. Also, Melinda, right now, there's a lot of similarity between Anajory and Human Library because it's all online. But if you come to look at the offline session, you can gauge at the differences. But, like we can have different books to choose from, but again energy is more about, we are talking about a specific profession, we're talking about the professional journey, and we're talking about that person's perspective on the profession. But here it's more about personal journeys, and the readers can basically choose from what they want to talk about or what they want to listen
Exactly.
to.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And one more thing I would like to add on this one. So, like it was human library, the concept was started in the year 2000. It's almost like 20 years back. So that time it is very new concept, and they are they are keeping the same protocol till now. So now technically, once we are like becoming more advanced, it may come similar. So many such kind of like concept. So it's not like very much. It doesn't matter actually. So if there are another
Yeah,
platform,
also,
there only the matter is the
since
storage.
right. So I have actually been to such like offline events, human library offline events. So the concept, it is different in a way that so I'll just explain you how it works in Delhi.
Mm-hmm.
So a bunch of students, mostly from Delhi University and such universities, they come together and they rent a place, right? So and then they bring 4 to 5 books who dedicate one whole day. ठीक है? So what happens is there are these books and there are these sessions. So you need to go and sign up for a certain book, and then 4 people together can sit with one book and listen to his or her journey and talk to that person. So basically you can choose from those people, and throughout the day one book can interact with a set of 4 people, like as many as the book wants to, basically. So it is not necessary that that person has to talk throughout the day or anything. He or she can choose, and that's how it works, and it's free. There is no money involved in this, and I've mostly seen young crowd, but yeah, I've also seen a lot of old people, and middle-aged people also go to these events. In fact, I still remember there was one event at the Innovate Center in Connaught Place, and the rush and the line was so huge that it had reached that Gurudwara. So it was so huge. People were like so curious, and people so wanted to be a part of that event. And actually offline events are you know uh, way different from what we are trying to do online. It's just an initiative right now, I guess. And
Exactly.
through this we have been able to basically help people through the lockdown also. I believe.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. So another question I have is like what when you talk to someone else, it's do you sign any kind of non-disclosure agreement before being a book? Is there some kind of legal formalities that you follow?
We won't say the legal formalities, but we have a certain protocols. We have a form for being a book. So if that person wanted to be a book, he need to go through certain rules and regulations that we
Hmm.
will distribute while we conduct the offline session. In online session, we are not following that protocols. Like we are following the protocols, but we are not signing any written documents.
It's more like a word of
On
mouth
consent,
right
yeah.
now. Yeah. So, but then the offline sessions are completely different, and we are looking forward to hold such offline events very soon.
Okay. So in Guwahati, how do you one become a book and how do one attend the human library? Do you have any space or like how do one do it?
Space, there will be lots of space that we have to approach, but we can conduct it within a library also, we can conduct it in a hall also, even we can conduct it in a open space also, like in a park also. So it's up to us how we like, what is the target audience we consider in the coming days, seeing the conditions and like this one pandemic situation also, like if there are 100 people, we can conduct in a different place. Like if we are expecting a larger, wanted to gather a larger people, we can go into the open space also. So even if we wanted to conduct in a cafe also, we can conduct it. So for space, there's no restrictions. We can conduct anywhere with a certain suitable environment.
So in Guwahati, how do one join in?
For joining, yeah, we will actually we'll publish it in offline mode also, in online mode also, even in our pages are there, electronics media also there. So that's how we'll promote it, and by mouth, word of mouth also we'll do it. So till now we are only working on the online session. Probably from like October we'll work on this one offline.
Okay. So another question when we talk about book, the duration of a book is very long. So how do you access for how long a book is, or like, do you have any specific duration to access a human book?
Yes, for offline session, there are time restriction. It's half an hour for an interaction session for a single book. In a single session, maximum half an hour. Usually it was 20 minutes in early times. So now, since people are more interested, that's why they extended up to another 10 minutes. It's a 30 minutes time for a single book.
Okay. So is within 30 minutes a book have to be done with?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So is there any other question like our participant would like to have like before we close?
Yes, I had one more question. The thing is, so when we go to a counselor, he gives us a set of questions. He asks us the questions, but in human library, we listen to the problems of the book or the issues he is facing. So do you think if we come up with more human libraries, the mental health and counseling would be a part of history? Do you think something like that would happen?
Can I just say something here?
I was about to like tell you. Go ahead.
Yeah. So since I have been a part of the online session and I have been to offline sessions, in my experience, I would say it's more like feeling that you're not alone. There are other people who perhaps face the same or who want to learn from your journey, and you basically want to let them know that you have faced it and how you have done it, so that they can also incorporate certain stuff in their lives, and you know get to basically overcome it through through that feeling that I'm not alone and it'll be over, and look at the brighter side of it. I feel.
And one more thing I would like to add, like if in the whole journey we feel like that, since he is the book, the book will we can learn from the book. It's not like that. It's a mutual benefit, right? Sometimes a reader can suggest something. Sometimes a reader can interact and say something while the conversation. Same problem I have faced in this way. I have like overcome this way. I'm facing this problem. He can interact it, and in that process of speaking and in that process of talking and in the conversation, that book may also come up with some new ideas. He may also learn it. It's a mutual learning process. It's not only about the book. We will learn from the book. No, it's throughout the process we will learn from anyone.
Yeah, absolutely. So before winding up, like Himakshi, do you have any comments which you'd like to end the series today?
No, actually, I won't say any comments. Like I'm glad that we got a platform to express what human library is, and you like more people are coming they are curious to know about human library. So in comment, I won't say I have any comment for anything in normal way also. I usually have no problem at all. I accept the things it is. So yeah, we are using the electronic media in a good way. That's a nice thing, and hopefully in our next session we will also come together again. So let's see, because there are 2-3 members from your energy team who are interacted with human library.
That's wonderful. And like this is definitely a very different concept which has been introduced to Guwahati. And I really hope and wish that this library, human library concept reaches new forum. And like at the time of digital age where we are, like we have stopped connecting with people at one-to-one level. And it's like in in Munna Bhai one movie it was said like फोन से तो दुनिया से कनेक्टेड हो पर
Yes,
जो पास में जो है उसके उसके क्या हो रहा है वो भी पता नहीं चलता है. So I think
exactly.
this human library will be a very good way of connecting with people at one-to-one. More than sharing problem, it's sharing of experiences and emotion. I think like what we lack in today's time is that we have become, we are very good at being critical and we are very good at being calculative, but being vulnerable is something which is so important in today's time to people to whom you can talk. I will not say human library as something which is as equal to counseling or like it's an alternative to counseling, but yes, where like stories which have been shared in past by our grandparents, or like stories of which has been gone away from folklores, maybe this can be a very wonderful medium of bringing those stories and cataloging and sharing it with the larger audience. So
Yeah.
I think that is very important, and I really hope that we get to know more about the human chapter in Guwahati. And like wishing you, Himakshi and Polomi, all the best for bringing such an innovative concept to Guwahati, and hope that we can be a part of it in future. When like the world will be in a much more safer way where we can have one-to-one interaction with people.
Exactly. Thank you. And I would at the end I would like to add something. Like we it's not just like very weird things that we sometimes we feel more safe to share our personal stuff with an anonymous person rather than our family one. So it's kind of like there are many people in the world with whom if we connect we can feel it like a home. So it's the only boundaries we are setting to ourselves. So human library, the places like this give us provide a safe space, and it allow us to express, and we can connect. Like we feel like a homely with even a unknown person also. So it feels really wonderful when some unknown people listen to you very carefully and like actively, and they appreciate, they show that empathetic values, they show that respect to your thought. It's very rare nowadays actually. Even the people at even your own family member, they won't have time to listen to you at that point of time when some unknown people come across to you and listen to your journey. It's very interesting, and it's really beautiful also. Understanding someone else's inner journey, someone else's emotion as yours, it's very touching actually. So hopefully we'll get good response in Guwahati also. Let's see.
Yeah, and all the best for that. And I hope that it is introduced to children also. I think children are the one who needs to have more human one-to-one interaction than anyone else in today's time. So yeah, like I think today we will end it here, and hopefully we get to see. I think there is one more question. Just let me check. No, okay. Yeah, there's no question, but yeah, like hopefully we will get to attend Human Library Guwahati chapter very soon.
Definitely.
Yeah. Thank you so much everyone who have attended today's session. And if they need any information about human library, please contact Himakshi Gohain or Polomi Khon, who can give you better idea of what the whole concept and how can you be engaged with the whole initiative and the platform. Thank you so much, Himakshi.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, bye.